Morning, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us for a Zoom virtual tour. We did this last year and didn't think that we would be doing it again this year, but I think it actually really is convenient for families to be able to get information and sometimes are not able to physically come into our building. So it definitely might be something in the future that we would continue to offer. But thank you again for taking the time. And we are going to explain everything about our school, answer any questions at the end of after we explain information that you might want to hear about, what kind of curriculum we have and so much more. And I wanted to start off with first just introducing our team. I'm Mari, I'm the admissions manager. So if you receive any emails coming regarding any kind of admission stuff, it's from me. And the best way to connect with me is through email. And we have Rebecca here, who is our head of school. And we also have Dracy, who is our site supervisor at our PK3 location. Since we have two locations, we have two separate site supervisors at both locations. And definitely feel free to ask us questions at the end. We're here to answer anything because I know there's so much going on and it is a little bit harder to understand our campus when you don't physically see it. And so it is a little bit of a different way to show it to you guys. But thank you again for being here. And I'll pass it off to Rebecca to tell more about our history.
Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you for taking the time on a Monday morning to join us. If you were here in person, we'd be giving you coffee and snacks. So you're just going to have to provide that for yourself at home. But I'm just going to quickly give you a little overview about what our school is about, because as you can probably tell, jumping into the preschool hunting process in San Francisco is a lot. I feel really proud to say that we live in a city that offers a lot of wonderful early childhood education, and we take a lot of pride at Potrero Kids in what we do, but we also recognize that part of the process is finding a school that's a great match for your family. And there are a lot of great schools out there. So I think what will be the most useful for you to listen for today is what makes Potrero Kids different and unique, and seeing if that feels like a good fit for you. So what I'll start off by saying is that I myself was a Potrero Kids parent. My younger son attended for a few years, and now both of my children are at Daniel Webster Elementary School, with whom we share a campus of one of our sites. We are in some portable buildings on the Daniel Webster campus. We are not affiliated in any direct way with the SFUSD or with Daniel Webster, but we do have, as you can imagine, a close community relationship because we share space. And just to give you a sense of how invested we are as a community preschool, we really exist because of the Daniel Webster School and the SFUSD. Basically, to give you just a short snippet of our history, back in 2005, Daniel Webster Elementary was one of the few elementary schools, public schools here in Potrero, and it was in danger of being shut down. And some families in the neighborhood who wanted the opportunity to send their kids to public school thought that a good strategy would be to build a preschool on the campus that would connect families with that school, build a relationship, and that's exactly what happened. And the school up there is now one of the most popular schools in the SFUSD, and now Potrero Kids is a popular two-site, large community-driven preschool in both Potrero and Dogpatch. So our campus up there, which we call PKDW, Potrero Kids at Daniel Webster, has about 38 children and 6 teachers operating in what is sort of one large classroom that most of the time we sort of split into, but they have a large outdoor space, yard, and garden up there. And down here at 810 Illinois Street, this is our PK3 location, we have almost 70 children, and they are split within 4 different classrooms. And also down here, we have our younger classrooms. So if you have a child who will be 2, this is where they would be. We have 2 classrooms here that are dedicated to 2-year-olds, and those are much smaller, more intimate classrooms than we have for the older children up at PKDW. So that's, on a daily basis, something like 12 or 13 children in those classrooms. And the older classrooms here have a little bit larger class size than that, but they all have 3 to 4 teachers dedicated to those rooms. So like I said, we are very community focused. We take pride in having the type of community where we joke, if you're looking for a school where you're going to make 30 instant friends, you definitely want to have us on your list. It is the type of place where parents don't tend to just drop their children off, rush out at the end of the day, and never make a connection with the group. There is a lot of emphasis among our parent community on getting to know one another. And as a former parent at the school, I can tell you I'm still friends with some of my child's classmates and families that we got to know here. We have lots of little community events we do, and families just like to get to know each other and invest in raising their children in a village, in a community. So that's a big part of what we do. Another big part of what we do is Spanish immersion. So if you're looking for a language experience for your child and you want them to finish preschool with fluency in a foreign language, Spanish is a huge emphasis for us here. We do not call ourselves full immersion yet because we still have some staff members who are primarily English speaking, although they are all taking Spanish classes right now. So we call it Spanish infusion, but certainly during our circle times and our project times and activities, the children are really being exposed to Spanish and being encouraged to speak. And even though we make never any promises about children being able to graduate and pass the SFUSD language test, which is something I know a lot of families look for, I will say that many of our children do. So if that's something that's important to you, I think we do an excellent job at giving children exposure to language. And I'd say sort of the last really important thing that makes Potrero Kids special, in my opinion, is our staff of teachers who have stayed with us for a long time. And I think that you'll look at a lot of other preschools in the city and see a wide variation on this, but we recognize that our teachers are the ones on the ground making the difference day to day in your child's life. Those are the relationships that they build that make them feel comfortable at school and able to flourish and grow. And it's really hard to do that with a lot of teacher turnover. So because of the way our organization is structured, we're lucky that we're able to pay our teachers a really good living wage, give them generous, time off and benefits, which, as you can imagine, is really important and actually does trickle down to your child by having a teacher that isn't stressed and isn't struggling in their free time or in the back of their mind during their school day. So we have some teachers who have been with us longer than a decade. We have teachers who have moved up in the ranks from being teachers to being supervisors. And we have a staff of just really dedicated, wonderful people, some of whom commute from far away because they really love working here with us. So those are the, to me, pinnacles of what makes Potrero Kids special. And I'm gonna just give you a few of the very basics about our school day and what our year looks like, so that then when I kick it off to Dracy in a moment, who's one of our site supervisors, she can go a little bit deeper into our curriculum and how things are running in the classroom. But just to answer a lot of the common questions, we are a year-round school, so we only take off a week in June and 2 weeks around the holidays each year. We also do take off a week in August to do training for the teachers. So overall in the course of the year, that's 4 weeks that we're closed. But other than that, it's just a sprinkling of individual days here and there. So we really aim to serve working parents who need to be at work throughout the year. Our school day is pretty long. We have our classrooms open from 8 a.m. to 5:45 p.m. and we only close early once a month at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday to give the teachers some time every month to meet as a team and work on curriculum and do all the behind the scenes work that it takes to keep the classrooms rich and wonderful for your child. And we have a food program that we have included in our tuition. So you never have to worry about sending your child to school with any food because we provide snacks and lunch throughout the day. And we work with a provider, a contractor who does dedicated school lunches for children, which is great because that means they are attentive to all of the individual dietary needs that children can have. So you can have everything from a vegetarian meal to a gluten-free meal, those types of dietary restrictions we're really able to support, certainly things like allergies. And that's sort of the basics of how our school runs. And now I'm going to kick it off to Dracy, who can go a little bit more into detail about how things are running in the classrooms.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good morning, everybody. I will focus in on the curriculum for Potrero Kids, which we take a lot of pride because it's the perfect season. The children at the moment are currently learning about the weather, the changing leaves, and we provide hands-on experiences for the kids so they can take arts and craft to the next level. So mainly we uh, focus on project-based activities, which is the classroom and the environment are focused around the interests of the children. So children work together to brainstorm ideas of interest. So the teachers are very intentional in listening to the kids when they talk, when they ask questions, what triggers their interest, when they see, it's different coloring a flower when they can grow a flower, when they can plant a little seed and touch the dirt, or when they can manipulate colors and mix them all together to make other colors. So we've mainly focused on the experience with hands-on. When the teachers ask questions, when the children ask questions, the teachers support them and build more conversation. They listen to their questions, they look for the answers together, and they dictate what they would like to learn in the curriculum. So our children are basically critical thinkers. So versus we have a variety of ages. We have ages 2 to 5. So we mix their interest, their learning, and their level based on their age. So for example, for younger children, we use a lot of props, visuals that can support their language development because at that age, they're still learning how to communicate. They're still learning how to use their words. They're still discovering the world around them. So there's a lot of discovery, a lot of sensory, many images of things that is happening in the world around them. We also focus on social emotional development, which is one of the most important factors for children to be successful later on in life when they go to kindergarten, when they go to, first, second grade. If they don't know the basic skills, being able to use their words, self-regulate, socially competencies is very important for young preschoolers. And we try our best to be present with them, to support their social emotional development, and to make sure that their feelings are heard. um, Another factor that we really focus on is for children to have a smooth transition to kindergarten, because this is what really preschool is about. It's about kindergarten readiness. In the long term, once they go to kindergarten, we expect the children to being able to share, to use their words to express their feelings in a healthy way, to be friends, to be social individuals, so they can be ready for the world. Another important and the most wonderful thing about our curriculum is that we always try our best to provide those special activities that children really love to have their hands on. So if your child goes dirty at the end of the day and they have paint all over their jackets or they have sand inside their shoes, that means that they had an awesome day. That means that your kid was exploring, experimenting, playing in a meaningful way, which is, the very last years of them being a kid. Because when they go to kindergarten or first grade, it's more like about academics. But preschool, it's more about the fun, the learning, special experience, and the a strong relationship that they can build with their friends and their teachers. And additionally, we also offer mental health consultation in our program, and this is at no extra cost for you. So if you having your child having some type of challenges, whether it's socially, whether it's cognitive, speech, or any type of difficulties, we can provide support, and we can guide our families to navigate the system, which in many cases you have to go through your insurance, your resources, what is the best way to reach out for help. And we can, with our mental health consultant, we can guide you through that process, and it's very intentional. Is it at the end, it will impact your child so much, because in a positive way, because early intervention is the most important successful way to provide support when your child needs support. And we are here for our families when any challenges come up, and if you have any questions, I'm always available in that regards to any support to our families. Thank you. Now I'll pass it down, I think, to Mari.
Thank you, Tracy. So I want to talk more about the admissions timeline, because that's always one of the biggest questions that I get about what do you need to do on your end. So everything starts right now, and we're talking about for the next school year, for the 22-23 school year. And this is the first phase, which is tours. And like I mentioned, we're doing this Zoom virtual tour, but we also are excited about being able to offer like a quick peek in tour. So if you haven't signed up, you can sign up on our website, and it's 15 minutes where you can peek into our classrooms and just see a glance of something in our school, versus before we weren't able to do that. And we have several dates for you to do it, and you can peek into the door, and we're there outdoors for 15 minutes to answer any questions. The next step is your application. If you already applied, you don't need to reapply. You only apply once and that's it, and you don't have to worry about reapplying. So the application due date is January 7th, and we did that just so that can give a little bit of extra time during, winter season, and things get a little bit busy in December, so we understand that. And so we wanted to push it to January just to give parents a little bit extra time. And in the middle of January, once I have all the information of applications from previous years, from current years, I send out an interest survey. And that interest survey, it actually is just a Google survey asking you, are you interested in the next school year? Do you want to get removed? Or do you want to stay on our wait list or our wait pool, but for the next school year, maybe because your child is 2 and you're not ready for them to go into preschool yet, maybe until they're 3. So it's just asking what your interest is. And from there, we give play dates. So last year we did virtual play dates, where it was just a way for us to connect to the families so that we can, see the children, even if it was just virtually. And also for the families to see us virtually, especially if you didn't do a tour yet or anything like that. It's just giving families just another way of connection to our school, because we know how important it is for you to feel connected to whichever preschool you end up choosing, because that's where your child will be, all day in, even if it's part-time or full-time. And we don't know where that's going to be like in January, February, because everything depends on what's going on. So just know that that can be, a virtual play date or maybe something in person, but we don't know. But if you are planning to apply for tuition assistance, that's around the time that you apply. The applications are due end of January, and your tax return for the current year, which is the 2021 tax return, is due in mid-February. After all of that's done, paperwork, play dates, then we have a acceptance date, which is on Tuesday, March 8th. And that's when you'll get to know whether you got a spot or you didn't get a spot if you're waitlisted. And I always tell all our families, please don't feel discouraged if you don't get a spot. It's just we have so much families that are applying, and we wish to give a spot to everyone, but sometimes we can't. But things move so quickly within those weeks and next month that if you're just really interested in our school, email me, let me know, hey, I didn't get a spot, but I'm really interested. And there tends to be lots of movement, because if you imagine, if you're applying to several schools, not everyone picks the same school. So just be patient and let us know. But that's mainly the admissions timeline. And I'm going to open everything up to Q&A, so you can definitely unmute yourself, or you can write something in the chat box if that's easier, and we can answer any questions that you may have.
I would like to mention one more important thing that I actually forgot. We also offer enrichment program classes, and at the moment we have music with teacher Lee, which she has been our music teacher for the past years at Potrero Kids, and she has been wonderful. The children do go to the park right across the street. We have Crankle Park, and they sit at the stairs, and teacher listens with her guitar, and it's wonderful. We love her so much. We also have art classes that are held in our motor room. We open the doors. All of our enrichment specialists, they're all vaccinated, so we barely started, being open to provide the extra fun activities for the kiddos, and they love it. They are familiar as well with the instructors for art classes, and we offer gymnastics as well to challenge children physical abilities and just being able to explore their bodies and their movements and get them tired, so at the end of the day they'll be really tired when they go home. Dinner, bath, and they go night night. So we also occasionally offer tree frog, which are animals, and they explore little wonderful tiny animals, and it has a lot to do with nature. And we also offer sometimes capoeira. So when the season it's perfect, we accommodate all our enrichment classes for the children at both campuses. That's all.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback on that. We really offer a lot of wonderful enrichment, but we also are just flexible and open-minded as things change. So because we're so community oriented and we're so interested in working closely with our parent community, I just want you to have a sense that even though we are a larger school, we are still very, very responsive to what families want. So there have been times where families have recommended a dance teacher that they love, that they've attended a class on a weekend, and we will hire that teacher, even if it's just for a few times, to come in and work with the kids. Or families have an idea of, have we tried this, or have we thought of that enrichment program? And major things at the school will change based on community input. So it's just important for you to know that at Potrero Kids, our families have a really strong voice here, and we really work together, and we change things up, we create, we improvise, especially, as you can imagine, having gone through a pandemic together. It's really taught us more than ever that we can pivot and be creative and make changes as it comes, and that's part of the fun of preschool life. Yeah, we always have some families that come in who are fluent Spanish speakers, and we also always have families that speak other languages as well. So, one of our challenges every year is those first few weeks of school. As you can imagine, it's a lot for children to come in who don't have the specific Spanish experience. So we this year have a few children who speak two languages, neither of which are Spanish. So our teachers are exceptionally talented at helping children acclimate to the school. You can imagine the first few weeks of school are stressful no matter what language you enroll your child in at which school. It is an adjustment, it is a transition, but our teachers really use the skills of body language and visual aids and movement to help the children be comfortable and be able to express themselves. And also, if children express themselves in English, the teachers understand and meet their needs. But for children who do come in with the Spanish experience already, they support them in other ways, and even just challenging them with different types of vocabulary or meeting them where they're at. We're very responsive to where children are at, but we do not intentionally try and balance our classes language-wise in terms of like sort of the traditional dual language immersion model, which like the SFUSD tries to follow. We don't do that here. We just take who we have and we adapt and change to meet those needs.
And I could add in there, we do use other factors to balance the classroom. So like Rebecca mentioned, not so much of the language component, and it tends to be very variable. Like we do get a little bit of everything, which is great. But we do like to balance, like gender and, ages. And so there's other factors that we look at to balance classrooms. So there's 4 classrooms at our PK3 location, and we have all ages there, which is 2 to 5. So we have 2 classrooms for 2-year-olds. So one is our younger 2-year-olds, and the other classroom is our older 2-year-olds. And then we have another classroom, which are just 3-year-olds, and that varies throughout all older and younger. And then we have a pre-K classroom in our PK3 location, and our Daniel Webster location is our pre-K, which is a mixture of older 3-year-olds who are turning 4 between, anywhere from September all the way through maybe February, and also 4-year-olds who are turning 5 and are ready off to kindergarten. And we even have occasional children who stay an extra preschool year who don't go off to kindergarten right away. So there is a little bit of the older end too. That just varies, per year. And for about mounts, every classroom has about a different ratio. So in our 2-year-olds, it's a ratio about 4-to-1. And we have a total of like probably 13 kids in the younger classroom per day, because there's children with part-time. And because our other classroom 2-year-old is a little bit older, we have about 14 to 15 kids, and it's also a bigger space. And so there's about 14, 15 kids per day. And then the other classrooms are about 16, 17 children per day, which is just a teacher ratio of 6-to-1, which is the same ratio over at PK DW. With 38 kids, it's also the same ratio with the teachers. Yes, we do have children who start throughout the year, and it really just depends if something opens up. So currently we don't have anything open, but I keep a actual wait list. So we don't go by like a wait list for the next school year when we do admissions. And the reason why is because we're intentional about balancing the classrooms, and maybe if one kid doesn't fit in one classroom, we can't just go off a wait list. But when it comes to during the school year, it's more like a wait list of families who let me know I'm interested. If something opens up early, and if a family tends to move, which San Francisco, there's always change, and I've been here for 4 years, so I constantly see change because families are constantly moving somewhere else for jobs specifically. And that's when we look at our wait list to see who is available that meets the match of that classroom. And we're very intentional also when it comes to in case there's children who are on specific financial programs, we like to replace them with other children in the same need, just to make sure we keep balancing out our program inside the classrooms.
So the children who shows like interest in speaking Spanish or English, the teachers most of the time are speaking Spanish, especially during transitions, where they can use the same words, the same phrases that they're working on. For example, they each classroom have a weekly vocabulary word that they're going to be implementing during that week, so they stick to it. So they introduce new words to the kids constantly throughout that week, and they use it and use it. So there is a lot of Spanish going on throughout the day. Mostly it's during circle time that we will want to sing songs. We want to review the calendar, talk about the weather, talk about who is here today, and they sing songs that are related to the theme or the project that they're working on. And they constantly are using the same words, such as vamos a ir a comer, vamos a ir afuera, vamos a agarrar las chaquetas. Like every day throughout the day, they're always implementing Spanish. So if there's a child who is not expressive or receptive in Spanish, the teachers connect to the child and speak English when they need to. So and then all the children come along with their own expressive. Some of them do speak Spanish, and they speak Spanish to their classmates throughout the day. Some of them are still building that language, still kind of like getting used to the whole both languages type of experience. But it's incredibly amazing how children do get used to it, and it becomes part of their world, part of their life, part of their routine. That if your child don't speak English or doesn't speak Spanish at home, you're gonna hear them singing another a song that they sing in school, or you're going to be hearing some words that they talk during the day, and that's how the teachers know that the kids are responding to the language development. Another thing is like it's important to us to have that connection, because when we have 17, 18 kids every day, language is such a connection that we make with each child, and that's the way we individualize their learning and who they are. And if they show interest in certain language, we provide support and guidance. At the same time, we continue to implement mostly Spanish, and we're trying to do more than 90% in Spanish during the day.
We have a very active blog. So our blog is the way that we keep the families updated on what's happening in the classrooms. We are photo obsessed, and we think that it's the easiest and best way for families to get a peek into their child's day. So especially during the first few weeks of school, we're snapping photos of the children in the classroom and outside all the time. So it's very comforting to families to just see their child smiling, even if it was, a teary drop off. So that's our largest way that we communicate, how your child is doing in the classroom in the moment. But the blog also has all the information about menus and schedules and activities coming up. The teachers post their calendars for the week. And also we do a lot of emails. So the teachers send an email every other week that just sort of updates on what's happening. And I send out a lot of emails. So, we try and balance it that we're not hitting people every, day or couple days, but we send meaningful updates about what's going on. And we have all of that information at your fingertips all the time. In terms of parent involvement, as you can imagine right now, pandemic wise, it's pretty restricted. We're not even able to allow families to head into the classrooms. Of course, they drop off at the door and they peek in and they have that goodbye, but we're not having people spend extended time. And I would say normally, unlike a lot of the co-op preschools that exist in San Francisco, where parents are regularly doing shifts, we do not do that at Potrero Kids. We welcome families to plan a time to come in and do special activities. That's always welcome. There's often situations that come up where a family has a holiday that they celebrate at home that other children might not know about. And the parent might say, I'll come in and I'll read this book and we'll draw some pictures together. And we really welcome that. That's really fun for everyone. Or occasionally someone plays guitar and says, I'd like to come in and do this thing. And they're always welcome to just join on little outings, because we do a lot of field trips here. And that's something I didn't mention yet either. We are getting the children out and about in the community a ton. So if you like the idea of your child being able to go to parks and explore new areas, especially with Crane Cove Park that just opened here, we're joking that we're going to get the kids all some stand-up paddle boards, get them out there on the high seas. But really we get them out and about, and families are welcome to join for that. Occasionally we do bigger field trips during non-pandemic times, and that'll mean taking a city bus and going to a frequent popular place to go to is the SPCA, and we'll take the children there and they get to meet animals, and we always have a lot of families come and help out on those days. So there's always the opportunity to be involved as much as you would like, but what's also nice is there's never any pressure to do that. So we really work with you and what you're comfortable with. And if you want to get in there and lend a hand, we will definitely find a way for you to do that. Tracy already mentioned that we are play-based. And when you're comparing different preschools in the city, you're going to see all sorts of different approaches. Some are more academically oriented or skill building. We are play-based because what we want children to graduate from Potrero Kids with is a sense of connection to others and social skills. So what we are looking for when a child walks across our adorable graduation stage at the end of their time here is a child who can share, a child who can express their emotions and work productively with others to solve problems, to show some patience, to show some excitement about learning. but not so much to have all of the ABC fundamentals. I mean, definitely we teach that here, and we do expose children to literacy and to early math concepts, but that is not our focus. Our focus is building the social skills that make children good community members and care for one another and learn to think beyond just themselves and their own needs, but how to connect appropriately and meaningfully with others. So that is our far and away #1 goal for what children leave here with. And I think if you really wanted to investigate, which we have and other families have, when you ask kindergarten teachers in the area what they notice with children coming from Potrero Kids, they will say that. They will say, these children are showing up particularly able to express themselves, to be patient, to solve problems with others. I mean, we have, as you can imagine, a wide variety of children who come into this school with a wide variety of skills. And there are children who come in with real struggles of how to behave peacefully and patiently with other kids. We address those needs so assertively here. We support the child, we come up with plans, and we have really seen that children who come through for a couple years finish their time here just really able to demonstrate those skills and go to kindergarten ready to learn. And even if they don't know how to add double digits in their head yet, which they shouldn't, they have the ability to sit and learn and be interested in learning those skills, which is what we strive to do.
We assess the situation, whether if there was a motive, the child was physically hurting another kid, or if the child is distressed, and the teachers are very perceptive and can recognize when something is not right as far as like mood and all that. We don't discipline children as far as like do timeouts and all those common things that many adults do, just because it's not a good strategy to help children reflect in what they have done. If they so children often tend to behave certain way because they need something to express something, and they're not capable yet to express themselves and raise their voice. So what we do is like we ask questions eye level. We ask them like, you make your friend cry, what do you think is the right thing to do, what happened, so they can get their side of the story. And then mainly we focus on the child who is crying. We talk about feelings. We talk about, you're making your friend feel really sad. Your friend is crying. What do you think is the right thing to do? So when we ask questions, the children can actually reflect in what they have done and the impact of their choices. More like, you need to say sorry, because they don't understand the concept of saying sorry at some point. So we want to guide their conflict resolution by asking questions and building their relationship. And most importantly, we want children to caring about each other and having that empathy and empathize that somebody is hurt, somebody is crying, I made someone cry, I made that choice, and now I'm going to make it better. So recognizing how they can make things better and kind of like not being stuck on like, you did this, now what else we can do to make it better. So guiding through conflicts of resolution, it's a way in an amazing a skill to reflect when you make a mistake. When the child is distressed and something is happening, then we find out why. Maybe it could have been not enough sleep the night before. It could have been like something happened at home, sometimes children see things and they reflect and they tell us and they can take it differently when something happens. So we focus and guide their conflicts. When a child needs space, which is very often, we don't do timeouts, but instead we use the word, let's take a break. We bring that child close to us and we sit with them, and we say, when you're ready to use your words, when you're ready to say that you care, we're going to go back and try it again. Sometimes it could be a tantrum, it could be crying on the floor, screaming on top of their lungs. it's okay to let them have their space. You know how that goes. It could be 1 minute or it could be 5 minutes, but we have to give them space, to let it all out. Once the child is done, we're like, okay, are you done? Do you need a hug? We hug them. We give them positive encouragement. I think you can do it. Let's try it again. It's okay. I will help you. I'll hold your hand. And then we do it. So it really is different with every specific child. Nothing is on, written on a book that everything is going to turn out perfect, but we try our best to support everybody and their temperament. So we have like kids who are not good sleepers, and that's okay. We have kids who are like at during lunchtime falling asleep already. So we provide baskets with books around the entire classroom. They all sleep on cots. So it's by licensing, everybody needs to have a blanket and a sheet that protects the cot. Children cannot be laying on the actual bed, and you can provide a small little pillow, a stuffy, a lovey, anything that can suit your child. Nothing with sounds, or something that talks, but something that they can help them, relax and comfort. And nap time starts around 12:30 when they turn off the lights for most of the classroom. Pre-K nap time is shorter. They wake up at 2:30. The 3-year-old classroom wake up at 2:45, and the younger twos, they wake up at 3. So they sleep a little bit longer because most of the kids in the beginning of the year, when they're still adjusting, they don't fall asleep right away. They kind of like a little bit energized because there's a lot of stimulation, there's a lot of happening. So once they get adjusted to the environment, they will nap more easily. They'll be more used to the environment, but eventually they fall asleep until like 1 o'clock. They don't fall asleep right away. And there's soft music. The rooms are really dark. They're going to love like them. They set the mood very nicely. All the classrooms are super quiet. The teachers are supporting the children. Some of them that need help, whether to just have a body next to them and just like, reassuring them that they're going to be okay, that there's like, there to help them. Some kids like the teachers to rub their back. Some kids like it when their teacher touch their hair. Everybody at after 2 to 3 weeks, they're already expressing what they like. Teacher, can you help me? And they ask for help. We also have these cool lizards that are they're weighted lizard. They have sand inside. And some of the kids who need a little bit of, that little support, like the physical support, to have that weight on you, it really helps them calm down and relax their body. So we use different strategies, and we also support children who don't need to nap. As long as they're not disrupted to the classroom and to the rest of the children, they can read books. They have choices, but they have to lay down for a few minutes before that.
We go through a lot of different things in order to admit families. So we have a priority list. So families, any like siblings of current admission, of Potrero Kids, or previous families, they have higher priority. We also give priority to any of our Daniel Webster families. So if there's any siblings from children going to that school, they have highest priority. And then after that, when our school opened, it was really to cater to families in this neighborhood. And so we have a priority list regarding like where do you work or live. So if you work or live in the eastern neighborhood, there's a map, then you have the highest priority. And then it goes into the next section, which is like the Daniel Webster Live, which is a little bit bigger space, which includes like Mission Bay, some area of like downtown, and that is considered under the SFUSD admissions for Daniel Webster location. And then last is everyone who lives outside. So we look at that. And we also look at just people, if families are referring other families. And I mean, and like I mentioned earlier, really trying to balance the classroom. So there tends to be just so many families that want to join us, and we can't always give spots. but we try our best to look at specific priorities first, since our school was founded on that. And then we look at other things. And also, even just for tuition assistance, that's been a very big goal of ours, to make sure that we have a good percentage of families who attend our school who are on some different kind of programs. There's so many different programs when it comes to tuition assistance for San Francisco. And so we really like to have a good percentage of that too included into our school. So it's a little bit of everything. And like I mentioned earlier, like gender balance, we look at ages. But I hope that kind of gives you more of a picture of what we look for. It's not like we're, analyzing each kid. This is preschool. So I know a lot of times admissions can be very just taunting, and I have 2 children of my own, and I've gone through admission season way too many times to count on my own personal level. So I understand how nerve-wracking it is. But when it comes to just preschool, we just really want families that want to be part of our school, like want to be there. If the child, if it fits in their school, because I truly believe that all schools are not made for each child. Each school is different, and each child needs something different, or what your family is searching and looking for. So if we're that right connected school for you, then it will work for you.
Please hit us up with questions anytime. We are super available via email. We are happy to connect with you. If you're able to sign up for one of our peek-ins, definitely do. It just helps you make that physical connection to our school. Or if that time doesn't work, walk by, peek in through our windows, wave, like, we are here. We are really looking forward to meeting you. And like I said, there's a lot of wonderful schools in San Francisco. We just want to help you along this process to find the right match for you. And you definitely will. I know it seems really stressful and really like you have to make this very final decision when, it's so far in advance and you can't even imagine. Try to take a deep breath. It's less terrifying and permanent than you think. We have families switch all the time. All of the schools do. You will find the right place for your child for sure. And hopefully we've just given you enough information about Potrero Kids that you have a sense of what we're about. But if anything is still lingering as you continue on in the process, just reach out to us. We're really, really happy to support you. And we do feel confident that if you feel like we are the perfect match, that we will find a way to get you here. We have not yet ever had to turn away a family that's repeatedly just reaching out. Hey, we really want a spot. Keep us on your list. Like, you are the right match for us. So just keep doing that and we'll work with you.